Welcome to Thriving Together, the ESOP Advantage. This podcast offers insights from BDO leaders and highlights the transformative power of employee stock ownership plans. Tune in to learn more about BDO's ESOP and how it is the embodiment of our people-first, purpose-driven culture.
Welcome back to Thriving Together, the ESOP Advantage podcast. I'm Blake Head, your host today, and a managing director at BDO Capital Advisors, where I lead the ESOP Advisory Services division. In our first episode, Kathy Moy, BDO's Chief People Officer, guided us as host. Today, she returns as our guest to share her perspective on BDO's ESOP journey. Kathy will explore the impact of an ESOP on corporate culture and how it aligns with the firm's core purpose of helping people thrive every day. Welcome, Kathy.
Thank you, Blake. Yeah, it's good to be here.
Yeah, we're excited to have you here as well. Kathy, could you tell us a little bit about your journey to becoming BDO's Chief People Officer?
I sure can. I grew up professionally speaking, principally as an auditor of financial statements. So I was a partner leading engagement teams, auditing financials. But when our current CEO, Wayne Burson, who kicked off our podcast series with me, took office, he could see that we were going to be on a rapid growth trajectory. And he had a real interest in ensuring that our people were well cared for, that when we apply our policies and our procedures at scale, we treat people right, to use his words, and that people could recognize when they're interacting with a BDO professional, whether you're wearing our logo or not, just by the way you behave. So he was asking me to work with him to elevate our game as an organization and be sure that our people are well cared for no matter how large we become. So that's the genesis of it.
It's so great to have you here. Now let's get into today's topic. So as a firm, we often talk about being people first and purpose driven. What does that mean to you?
I think about that quite literally. When you're making a big decision for our business, for our clients and so forth, what comes first? Where do you start? So if I put that in concrete terms, for instance, if we were planning a business model, do we start with, this is how much revenue we'd like to achieve? Or do you start with, what solutions do our clients need? What great people would find joy in bringing those solutions to clients? And how do we attract and keep great people and take care of them? And let's watch how much revenue we generate and how profitable that business is with great people finding joy in creating great solutions for great clients. And so it's a much more, I think, virtuous and uplifting way to think about it, and absolutely still has, commanding economic impact. We are a for-profit, profitable business, and, commercial results matter. But I think what you start with can actually be a multiplier on those.
Yeah, I agree. That's great. So in your opinion, how does establishing an ESOP align with BDO's core purpose of helping people thrive every day?
Helping people thrive every day, has a lot of dimensions to the words. But when I think about what we're trying to do with our brand new ESOP, it has a number of effects. And, the term generational wealth has been used. I take that as a very profound set of words. We have, 10,000 approximately families as part of the BDO USA family. And how do we take care of those families? And the fact that through the ESOP, every one of our contributing professionals can participate in the profits that we generate together and the value we create through doing good work for great clients, that, in the words of our Chief Diversity Officer, Bernadette Peters, is the most inclusive thing we've ever done.
Yeah, not only are you providing generational wealth to 10,000 families, I love that, but you're also providing meaning to every employee coming to work, right? What they do on a daily basis really contributes to that generational wealth that you talked about before.
That's exactly right.
So in the previous episode, BDO CEO Wayne Burson shared his perspective on this transformational move. Would you mind sharing your perspective on what it means to our people?
Well, I think, it's one thing to articulate your vision, your mission, your core purpose that I like to call core promise, and your core values. And we do that, right? We do it in a meaningful way, and everyone understands, what we stand for. But then I think it needs to translate into how do those live? Not only what do you stand for, but who do you stand with, right? When you go to deliver on your purpose and your mission in a way that's consistent with your values, do people feel it? I don't think about 10,000 people at once. You think about one person, any one person, and say, is what we're doing having the impact on their experience that makes them say, this place is walking the talk. I think it's a walking the talk moment, and it puts all of us, as a community, I think, on equal footing. It's another measure of we have profound and real respect for one another. It doesn't matter if you've been here 1 minute or you've been here your entire career. It doesn't matter where you sit and what your daily responsibilities are. It matters that you're one of us. And what's good for one of us is good for all of us. And this is just one of those times that I think closes any real or perceived gaps we may have from one person to another, that we are culturally a one-class system, if you will. We're all in it together. And I think people feel that. And if we can simplify things and say, what is the most human thing to do? How do we best connect with people? I think mostly people want the same thing, right? Mostly people want to be cared about, feel that they are respected for who they are, feel that they are part of something important and bigger than them, know what their place is in it, and have someone help show them the path to growing and contributing in increasing ways. So, there's no one silver bullet, whether it's an ESOP or anything else, that will achieve all of that. Mostly it's the behaviors of how we treat each other and take care of each other each and every day. But the ESOP structure certainly, I think, is a manifestation of that. It's a further extension of our values.
So, Kathy, what can an individual do to contribute to the success of the firm?
That's a good question. Thinking about it that succinctly, what can one individual person do to contribute to the results of the whole? And because when we look at it, we always look at it all together, right? And the amazing things we accomplish in total. But anyone can naturally feel their part isn't significant to that. So I think it starts with the recognition, and sometimes we have to remind each other every one of our parts is significant. So I think it is just thinking about what is my job and talking actively with your advisor, your mentor, your peer of how can I do the best at my part. Everybody has the opportunity to be an impact player. It doesn't matter what your tenure, doesn't matter your geography, it doesn't matter your practice, and it doesn't matter your title for sure. It matters, how much heart and intentionality you put into it and how much you care about how it affects others and what they're doing, and how we ultimately together deliver, high quality assistance and solutions to the market.
So, Kathy, what effect does the ESOP have on enhancing BDO's already award-winning culture?
Yeah, that makes me smile because and there's nothing wrong with your question, but whenever we talk about awards, to me, they're kind of an afterthought, meaning we do what we feel we should do. And luckily, some other people think that it was good and they award us things, as opposed to what's the scorecard for the award, and let's create activities that score us high and we could be award winners. So the awards are absolutely a consequence, not the end that then justifies our means. But enhancing our culture, yes, I think through what I touched on, meaning another place where people see that we act on our values, we don't just state them. That deepens trust and deepens relationships, which are foundational for culture. Research says that the average tenure at ESOP companies is much better than the average tenure at non-ESOP companies. So it stands to reason if people stay, I'll just call it a bit longer, relationships have the opportunity to develop a bit more deeply. And so if you could have more lasting, deepened relationships in a context where you trust that values are aligned with action, like that, to me, is a culture that's hard to compete with.
So, Kathy, If 30 years from now you look back on this ESOP project, what do you think success would look like?
I think over the long term, this is a structure and a way of working. It's not just a structure, it's a way of working that is compounding. It absolutely accumulates. And so we have built value for well over 100 years now, right? We just need to stay the course. What I think we have chosen for ourselves here is a consistent and stable. I'm not saying it's not without dynamic change, but a consistent and stable way of operating. It's scalable. It's dynamic. It allows for investment. It's participatory. It takes care of everybody. It seems to me the one we've chosen for the long run. We can ride this horse for a very long time and literally generations. That's why you went out so far. Like, what's it going to do for the next generation? Like, literally generations can use this platform and this structure and build growth for the organization, for our clients, for their families. And I would hate to forget for the communities we have the opportunity to serve. I'm proud that we'll do this for the next generation and be a sustainable organization. And then we even hear the stories from outside. We've received calls from professional organizations saying, we're cheering for you and thank you for taking the profession in a direction that offers possibilities for other organizations. We did this for our people and for the sustainability of our organization, but I think also with a responsibility, given our size and influence, that if we have the courage to try it and other people can watch and be fast followers, then all the more power.
Well said. Well, Kathy, thank you so much for your time. It is evident that BDO's dedication to a people-first, purpose-driven approach is ingrained in the firm's culture. Your insights have further solidified how the ESOP reflects this commitment. I've really enjoyed this conversation. And as always, it's great to talk to you.
And you as well, Blake. Thanks so much for spending a little time with me.
Thank you for joining us on Thriving Together, the ESOP Advantage podcast. Episodes, resources, and contact information associated with this podcast are available at bdo.com/ESOP. Until next time, thank you for listening.